Hi everyone, welcome to our weekly Q&A session, and today it is my pleasure to welcome here our coach, Cristian. So Cristian, it's really nice to see you. You're looking good. So how are you today?
I'm doing great, Veronica. Thank you so much. You look lovely as always. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, I hope people will jump in and write their questions. So, anybody out there, please don't hesitate to ask us. So we are really happy to answer any of your concerns, questions, thoughts. So, right. But in the meantime, I have a few questions prepared that people in general like really curious about. So the first one would be, how do I know when is the right time to stop taking sleep medication? So I believe you have had quite a few experience with sleep medications, right? Me as well. So how did you kind of like wean them off, or what did you do to kind of like get rid of them?
So when I was initially trying medications, nothing really worked. So we just kept trying different ones, stronger, different
Mhm.
blends or mixes, whatever it was. And then I think we got to this one cocktail, which was, I think it was like an anti-anxiety and slash like sleep aid. I don't remember the medications, but I took them for a while, and it really gave me this kind of a zombie state. This
Mhm.
feel where it was just kind of, there was no ups, no downs. It was just kind of going about my day, but it was a good break for a little while. I was getting some sleep. It wasn't great. It wasn't perfect, but I felt like it was like a bit of a pause when things were very, very difficult. So that was really helpful.
Mhm.
But then after a while, I just felt like, okay, I feel like there's a pause. I can kind of start maybe weaning off of this and see if I'm sleeping on my own or if I need to kind of keep working on this insomnia. So I think a lot of it just goes back to what feels best for you. I don't think there's a timeline or a window that we can say, all right, something after 2 months, you should really kind of transition into weaning off of it. So it's really, so much of this goes back to what would feel best for you. And of course, consult with your doctor on how to do it properly. I remember doing the same thing and started cutting the doses in half and down to a quarter and then every other day and so on and so forth. And even when I got to like a quarter of a of a of a cap of a pill every other day, I still took it for several weeks past that because
Mhm.
there was something about it that made me feel like safe. Like
Mhm.
this is okay. So I think it really is more about the relationship that you have with it. And whenever you feel like you're kind of ready to move on, that's probably the right time. So what do you think?
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. I really like what you said, like right now, that it's really a lot about the relationship that
Mhm,
you have with the pill. It's not really about the fact whether you take it or not.
mhm,
Because at the beginning when we start to see any kind of like good results with the pill, that
mhm,
oh, I took a pill and I slept, so this means it's really important that I take a pill,
right.
otherwise I will not sleep. Right? We have like this really strong connection. A pill means sleep, right? So but then down the line you will realize that not every time you will sleep after taking a pill, or you will have to change the dose, or you will have to change the pill, or there will be something about it that like there is nothing external in the world that can make sleep happen
Right.
every single night, right?
Yeah.
So when we just start to take the pills or see them as maybe not so important. That's what I want to say. Like Daniel calls, there is a little teaching like vitaminize the pill, which means that when we kind of like vitaminize it in a way that when we take our nightly vitamins, we feel very good. Oh, I took my A, B, C, D, E pill, whatever vitamin, and we feel good. We even like want to pat ourselves on the shoulder, like we are taking care of ourselves. But even when we take the sleeping pills, we also, in a way, are taking care of ourselves, right? But when we can take this attitude from like what we have feel like when we take those nightly vitamins, when we could take it to those meds, which usually otherwise are very self-critical about them, then we start to kindly loosen this strong connection from taking a pill, and which we make it less important.
Right.
And the less important we take it, the less we think like, oh, I have to take it, otherwise something bad will happen. Then sometimes what happens, we forget to take the pill, and we see, oh, I didn't take the pill, and nothing bad happened.
Right.
Hmm. And this is when we start to slowly and surely just loosen this grip, and I think that is kind of like the right. I don't want to say like there's right or wrong time, but this is eventually the time where we slowly can just realize it's okay even if I don't take the pill. Nothing bad will happen, right? So yeah, these are my 2 cents to this topic.
Yeah.
And right, so let's look at another question. And the question would be, what if I'm doing everything right, accepting, allowing, and I'm still not sleeping? So, what do you think, Christian?
Well, the first thing I would ask is probably, what if I'm doing everything right? What, not sure what that means. I know they described accepting and allowing, but I think whenever we are doing what we're supposed to or the right things, we oftentimes believe that logically, since we're doing things correctly, the result should come immediately following. So let's say we have a leaky faucet and we fix it. It's supposed to stop leaking. Like, it's fixed. We're done.
Mm.
And so when it comes to sleep, that doesn't necessarily work that way. It's not like we're doing everything right, so then sleep immediately happens. I've talked about this before, where we think logically we get something, we understand the information, but emotionally we're still kind of hanging on. It still takes some time for things to catch up. And so the idea of the fact that you're doing things right should tend to put a lot less pressure on yourself. So it should kind of bring that kind of hyperarousal down. But in reality, that patience of allowing things to emotionally kind of settle, right? That nervous system to kind of feel that it's consistently we're doing what we need to without any pressure of trying to get to where we need to right away. Now, this is obviously so much easier said than done, but it's doable. This is just like if we went through something scary or uncomfortable, even though we're safe now. Let's say we were like in a little fender bender, like bit of an accident, and it was scary, is uncomfortable, and now we're home. The fact that we're home doesn't mean that we no longer have thoughts, feelings, or emotions about what happened. There's still something that's lingering. And so if we can just be along the lines that where we're not only accepting and allowing, but we're also being patient with ourselves and just giving it that time for things to settle whenever they need to. And that's the only thing that, I don't want to say that's missing. We just need to keep doing what we're doing. And with time, things start to soften and things start to improve. So what do you think, Veronica?
I totally agree, Christian. And just a second, let me see. Um, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is, uh, it takes time for our really emotional brain to catch up, because we first need to understand things. We first need to get the education to see really why our brain is doing what it is doing, why our brain is keeping us awake when the only thing in the world we want is to sleep, right? So I think that um, even understanding this like metacognition, that we need to see that even for our emotional brain it takes time to understand, to allow things to really feel the safety. It's not very it takes simply time, right? Sorry, I'm
No.
I get my thoughts like really um, not straight, but um, don't worry, you will get there simply, right?
Agreed. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question that we have is, how can I deal with the fear that I will never sleep naturally again?
How can I deal with the fear then? Well, I mean, again, this is a fear, right? When it comes to thoughts, feelings, and emotions, there's no way to control them or stop them, but it's really kind of more important how we respond to them. I would also say that nothing stays the same. I think all of us, including myself, and I'm sure you, Veronica, there was times when we felt so helpless and scared that it was never going to change. This is going to be the way the rest of my life is going to be. And in reality, nothing really stays the same. Things shift, things change. Now, the fear, if we're constantly dealing with intense level of fear, this hyperarousal, yes, sleep is going to be a little bit more difficult. So there's a big difference between real fear and perceived fear. And with insomnia, we're really dealing with this perceived fear. So if we can understand that what we're experiencing isn't something that needs to be fixed, then we can start to realize how we can respond differently to it. So there's a difference between dealing with the fear of assuming that there's, I don't know, the house is on fire, as opposed to the house really being on fire, right? The difference is if the house is on fire, it might be a good idea to call the fire department. If you're perceiving that the house is on fire, right, that's logically there's no real danger, no real threat to fix. We understand that insomnia can be uncomfortable, miserable, right? Can make us feel tired, but it's how we react and respond to these emotions that either makes it more difficult, more kind of sticky, or it can just flow. So the fear is real. It feels real, but are we in real danger? Is this a real threat? Daniel talks about how information is always number one. Once we understand what is happening to us, what's going on with us, it can help to minimize the fear. And then as we talk about the concepts and teachings that we apply in the program, it helps us to kind of work through this and recognize that what initially feels so scary, so major, like this monster, really is just perceived. It's just kind of something that our brain has looked at something and misunderstood, and it just needs to reframe and learn differently. And that's how the fear tends to fade. Veronica, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I also thought like I will never sleep again because I was basically years and years and years stuck in like looking for help, like trying to answer the question why I can't sleep, what is wrong with me, am I like in some way physically damaged? But I never would have thought that this is just my brain trying to help me. That sounded so paradoxical and counterintuitive. And when I first learned that it's all basically fear, the fear of not sleeping, I couldn't even understand it. Like, I mean, I'm not afraid to sleep. What does fear has to do with this? I had no idea. But eventually I understood that it is basically the automatic reaction that our brain is creating
Mhm.
that is like basically the same when we can't sleep, right? We get hyper aroused, we get anxious, we get so uncomfortable, we get so nervous, and this all is basically stepping in the way of peaceful sleep. It's like the gas and brake model, right? So we have plenty of gas, the plenty of sleep drive, but the moment the hyperarousal kicks in, there is the break. So uh, I hope I just couldn't understand it, right? But thank God we have Daniel here and he could answer all these questions for us and help us. So, right, this is my 2 cents. And we have a question from, just a second. Mm, I'm sorry, technical problems.
No, I'm fine. We're good.
Okay, I'm sorry, really sorry, guys, but we have a comment from Meat Freak. Good morning. I seem to have a very hard time falling asleep and staying asleep after crushing lines all night. Is there something I can do to counteract this? Love the show. You get a question, Christian?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love the name, right? Me. So, seem to have a very hard time falling asleep and staying asleep after crushing lines all night. Man, I don't even want to guess on that one.
And there is another part of
There's
the
nothing I
question.
can do. Wow, I feel a lot of fear when that bag gets low. Yeah. So what
Okay, your
what I
turn.
would say what I would say is maybe ease off on the bag, and maybe that would help. Maybe not crushing so many lines might be helpful. And maybe easing off on that might be a good start. We can start. Let's start with that. Let's start with that and just say how things are. And right, there's always a first step. So let's start with let's start with that. Good luck, meat freak.
Good luck. Okay. There are no other questions for today. So,
Oh, okay.
uh,
So Veronica, I was working. I was kind of thinking about something, and maybe I'll share it with you. Give me some feedback. See what you think. Right. So I was talking to somebody that was having a really hard time trying to understand why the brain struggled so much, why the brain was really struggling so much to even though logically you understand what was happening. Okay, this is perceived threat, this is danger, there's no real danger. How do I, you know, where's the conflict? Why is it so difficult? And I haven't worked this out, so I don't know how it's going to land fully. So I was thinking, I say, okay, so imagine we were living in a time where you could buy a robot, right? So AI, or hundreds of years from now, you buy a robot to defend you, to protect you, right?
mhm,
Let's say the streets are, kind of chaotic and things are really wild. And let's say you have this robot, and the robot is designed to protect you, to defend you, to keep you safe. As you go down the street, let's say things are coming your way. Let's say somebody's trying to mug you, and the robot defends you, right? There's a dog that's coming at you. So the robot understands its mission, and it's doing it. But imagine, what can the robot do when the fear or the threat is internal? How can it fight
mhm,
or defend or protect you? Right?
right.
So everything is external. It understands, okay, there's a dog coming, there's a person coming, there's a danger, there's a car coming, whatever it is, it's there to protect you. But
Mm,
if it's internal, right? If it's in your mind, how is this robot going to come into your mind and protect you? And so the engagement, the struggle is when the brain is trying to protect you from something that is not real, that it's perceived. And so the only way we can really do this is to start looking at things differently, reframing. We tend to do things outwardly, right? Sleep efforts, right? Working out, exercising, doing things, staying busy, right? This is all outward things, when in reality, this is also internal. And so the beautiful thing about this program is it starts to teach how to look and understand what the brain is doing, why it's doing it. And once we understand that, if we can learn to respond differently to it, that's when things start to shift. That's when things start to calm. That's when things start to settle. That's when the brain finally internally says, we don't have to fight. We don't have to defend. We don't have to do anything. We're okay. And that need to fix and solve and stop, and the internal struggle, the internal battle starts to fade. And so I think when people are struggling with insomnia, I think oftentimes all of us, including myself, what else can I do? Can I go outside and look at the natural light so I can balance my circadian rhythms? Whatever nonsense. I'm going to go work out and get really tired, and that'll help me sleep. It's all this outward stuff, when insomnia really is all internal. It's how we're perceiving things, how we are seeing things, and how we're responding. It either creates a bigger struggle, or it can start to kind of calm that system down. I think that can make a really big difference. And so I've been kind of chewing on that to see if that can be helpful for people. Because once you separate the two, then you realize, what am I doing? I'm doing all these external things. This is why it keeps going. We keep feeding this, the struggle, as opposed to internally learning to reframe things. So
Yeah, that's a wonderful analogy. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's really everywhere are jumping on me all the short videos with the AI robots, and so it's going to become really actual.
right.
So thank you so much. And sorry, now we have an actual question from Mike. I had a sleepless night for the first time in 2 months last night. I really thought I had things turned around after a year of applying Natto. I didn't feel hyperarousal and tried to watch TV, do work. When I couldn't sleep, but no idea why last night was any different. I still have trouble falling asleep, not feeling tired enough to sleep at night. Last night wasn't different than other nights, except I didn't sleep. Not confident I can call myself recovered when nights out there out of the blue like this. Thank you for all you do to help us. So, what do you think? An all-nighter after out of the blue.
So, thank you, Veronika. And yeah, Mike, I would say that how would you define recovered, right? Because if we define being recovered as I will sleep 7 hours a night every night, I will never have a sleep disruption, I will never have a bump, that is really kind of probably not as accurate as opposed to saying I've been sleeping well for a few months, he said, for a few months, and I had a night that was maybe a little bumpy. Well, that would just be like a normal human response. Last night I woke up, I was up for like, I don't know, maybe half an hour or something, felt like asleep. That's not insomnia. That's just a human response. I would consider that anytime we're trying to figure out what's wrong or what's going on, I think we put more attention, more pressure on trying to fix, again, this so-called problem that we see. It's really about the relationship that you have with sleep. I don't know if I told you this, Veronika. I think maybe like a few weeks ago, a month ago or so, Sunday night, I had kind of a patchy night. I kept waking up. I was playing with my phone. A couple of days later, I remember just talking to my wife about it. And I said, hey, something was really weird. I had a really rough night, Sunday night. And she said, yeah, I know. I noticed. I saw you kind of grabbing your phone a couple of times throughout the night. And I was like, that's weird. I go, what were you doing? She said, for some reason, I didn't sleep that night. And I thought, interesting. This is days later, right? She's like, you're married to a sleep coach, right? There was no interest or curiosity as to go, hey, let's talk about this. She's like, no, nothing, no engagement, no curiosity, nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I was so intrigued, right? So this was like an opportunity for me to go, interesting. What does a normal person do when they don't sleep all night?
Yeah.
So I go, so Michelle, what is that like? And she's like, that was really boring. I said, and she goes, yeah, that's it. It was just really boring. Okay. So, and then I thought, oh, this is like not even maybe a month ago, right? I was like, this is amazing. And so I looked back at my insomnia and I was like, oh my goodness, a night of not sleeping for most humans is boring. I decided to go, I need to fix it. I need doctors, I need therapists, I need medication. I'm dying of cancer, dementia, heart disease. And then I wonder where all this insomnia came from, right? And if I would have been like, oh, that was boring, what would have happened? Nothing, right? Because it was so uneventful that my wife didn't even think to bother to talk about it. She was like, right. And so it's always about how we respond, how we react in our relationship with sleep. And so if you've been sleeping 2 months or 2 years and we have a patchy night, right? My wife would never talk about it because it's boring and there's nothing to fix. And if it's one of us and we're like, oh my goodness, did we fix it? Am I immune? Or we start to find definitions or start to analyze what's wrong. Was there something, did I eat something weird? Or did I, whatever nonsense we start to overthink, that is the engagement that starts to track and monitor. Well, remember that one night I was up for like 2 hours. And then the following night I woke up twice, but I went back to sleep right. We're engaging in this pressure and trying to control it again. And so be less like me, be more like my wife. That's the lesson.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, Cristian. It's amazing. I always love your stories you're sharing. And just just a few thoughts for Monica from me is that basically it's very normal that even after months of sleeping well, we experience here and there a sleepless night, because I like to explain it in a way that okay, our brain is literally asking us, hey, you are so scared of this so much in the past. How about now? It gives us some hyperarousal, gives us a sleepless night. We experience like the old fears and emotions and sensations resurfacing. And again, as always, it depends on our reaction, whether we will be like Coach Cristian or his wife. so, yeah, don't make a big deal out of it, Mike, and I think you'll be fine.
You're covered, man. You're fine.
Right. And one more question from MD Almela. I have a question. Is 5 hours sleep while recovering from insomnia normal? Um, any thoughts, Cristian? Although
Yeah.
in the previous response.
Yeah. So I would say that insomnia is really more of this relationship that you have with sleep. And it's not a good relationship, right? It's a kind of a difficult relationship. And so the amount of hours that you sleep really has nothing to do with it. Are you sleeping 5 hours? I would say more important, maybe it doesn't matter how much you sleep. How do you feel?
Yeah.
And even that, think about if you have a very hectic and demanding schedule, and you're working 10, 12 hours, whatever it is, physically demanding or even it's mentally exhausting, right? You can still sleep and be tired the next day. And so sleep isn't the only thing that kind of resets us. We're not a robot. And so sometimes we can sleep very little and feel fine. Sometimes we can sleep a lot and feel tired. Sometimes we can sleep fine, have a difficult morning and be exhausted by noon. So again, trying to gauge the number of hours, I don't think is necessarily helpful. So is 5 hours normal? Yeah. I think Daniel has talked about how I think it shows that universally adults don't get 8 hours of sleep. I think the average is more about 6 hours. How much do I sleep? I don't know. It was so awesome to stop tracking and thinking about it that I have no idea. I could care less and I feel great. So 5 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours. I really don't think so, 8 hours. But anyways, I don't think the time is really a concern or a factor. I think more assess kind of how you're feeling and just kind of go from there. What do you think, Veronika?
Yeah, I totally agree. The recovery can be very messy. We can sleep a little bit more, a little bit less. We can experience like even all-nighters towards the end of our recovery, like maybe what Mike was experiencing. We can experience sleeping for 12 hours and still feeling like totally wasted. So it could be very, very messy.
Yeah.
And but the less we kind of like compare like or think like the more I sleep, the better I feel, the less it could be, the less we will be in this insomnia state of mind, right? Because I mean, of course, like with common sense, of course, we kind of like need sleep, like to feel good, to function. But when we feel like this is the only pillar of healthy lifestyle, then it's we're going to have a trouble, because it's not only about sleep, our everyday life. It's also about healthy eating, healthy like exercise, and the mindset, and it's very, very kind of like really helpful not to track the time.
Right.
So the less you are counting the hours of how much you sleep or how quality was your sleep, or like literally if you just throw away the tracker from your wrist,
Yes.
the helpful it gets, because
Yeah.
then you don't feed your brain with the numbers, which gives your brain like the idea of I have a control here, you have zero control here. And Daniel's favorite question when somebody says a specific number of hours how much they slept. Okay, so how did you get it? What did you do to get these 5 hours, right?
Right.
But it's not about a specific action, like okay, I did a sleep hygiene thing, like, and then I'll get 5 hours, then I'll add something or remove something, then and
Right.
I'll get 6 hours, and then I'll get only 4 hours if I remove something.
Right.
No, it's more about the mindset in a way, like trying to let go of the control of
Yes.
how many hours we sleep,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So letting the night evolve the way it pleases is really the way how to continue on our recovery journey and how to get where we want to be.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Veronica, it reminds me. My family, I had like the one question regarding sleep for my one of my
Mhm.
girls recently, and she said, it was very strange. She said sometimes I'll maybe sleep 5 hours and right 5 hours and I'll feel really tired. And he said one night I was up all night and she's like, I only slept 2 hours and I felt great. Should I only sleep 2 hours? I'm like, just go to sleep. Just just go to sleep whenever you feel like it. Just don't worry about it, right? So even somebody that wasn't dealing with insomnia, all of it is going to notice a difference, and then they're going to want to kind of grab onto that as well. So notice that all of us do this at first because the goal is to feel better. But the more we focus on sleep, something that we cannot control, that's when it starts to get a little sticky, a little bit difficult. So, what does it say? Yes, I'm recovered from insomnia. Yes, I need to stop.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally
cool. That's it.
agree. Yep.
Okay, so thank you. And we have also this question from Omar. I haven't slept in 2 days. My anxiety is out of control and I'm unemployed. Really sorry to hear about this. And what do you think, Christian, about consecutive nights of not sleeping and the consequent anxiety?
So this is not a contest by any means. It's just to hopefully for you to feel like you're heard, and it's not that rare. Usually, my speed bumps were like 2 or 3 nights with zero sleep, and then choppy stuff. So it was kind of inconsistent. I think whenever we're experiencing something like that, our hyper arousal clearly is way up. We're dealing with a lot of fear. And what's another way to define anxiety? Oftentimes it can be fear. So you're dealing with a tremendous amount of fear. Now, if you are, and I've noticed this when I talk to people that are retired, it seems to be a lot heavier because they're saying they tend to be at home a lot. So if you're at home all day and all night and you're dealing with a problem, the more you sit with that problem, the bigger and heavier that problem is going to feel. And so oftentimes if we are, even if you're currently unemployed, what can you do? What are there things that we can do without the intent of making sleep happen? But how can we live our lives? Can we go outside? Can we go to the park? Can we go on walks? Can we interact with friends? Can we, go to a coffee shop? What can we do to kind of live our lives? And through this program, start understanding how insomnia works, how we can respond to it, how we can deal with it, understand that it's often, in most cases, fear-based. It's how we react and respond that creates a struggle. So now we need to start, not need to, but it can be helpful to start reframing how we're responding to things or how things are coming our way and softening that approach, letting ourselves know that we're safe. There's nothing we need to do or fix, right? The whole program just kind of really helps to kind of reframe the situation. So there's no quick answer or fix. Of course, if you are up for a couple of nights, it would make perfect sense that if you're attempting to sleep and it's not working, that you're going to deal with an intense or high level of anxiety. So I think following the program, listening to the teachings can start to teach you how to respond in a way that can be a bit more helpful. So,
Absolutely. We have a question from Mark. Christian is the best. Totally agree. Great help to me. I probably know this answer, but may help others. If we get to a place where we'll always have sleepless nights here and there, but don't care, that's the win, right?
Yes, Mark, thank you very much. I appreciate, yeah, thank you so much. But what I would say is one of the things, well, I love a lot of things that Daniel does, right? But the fact that he calls it immunity program, I think it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the night brings, I can confidently say that I'm completely immune to whatever the night brings. I've talked about when I've gone on vacations and just kind of a grouch when it comes to sleeping anywhere except for my own bed. So I usually don't sleep very well or very much, but my relationship with it is completely changed. There's nothing to fix. There's no danger. There's no threat. It doesn't matter. And so a sleepless night or a difficult, bumpy night, whatever that means, doesn't mean you're dealing with insomnia. It just means you're a human being having a normal human experience. That's all. And so how you're defining the night is more of can be more helpful than how much you're sleeping at nights. So I hope that helps to answer the question, Mark. Veronika, anything you want to add?
Absolutely, absolutely. I just would like to wrap up in this place. It was really great talking to you today, Christian. Thank you so much for all your questions. And if anybody is interested to having a one-on-one with Christian, I will post a link under this video. And I will see you next time. Bye bye. Take care,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah.